Dad was an ambitious and committed pastor. His old family films show just how important his congregation was in his life. There are hours of these films. Most of them I've cut out. When I asked David Zink for old films of his family, he said they didn't have any. A camera and film was expensive in those days, a luxury most could not afford. And yet Dad spent hours of film on his congregation. He must have loved them. Endless faces, all with meaningful stories, I'm sure, but lost in the memories of my departed parents. In 1942, Roy Wead accepted the invitation to pastor Glad Tidings Assemblies of God Church in Muncie, Indiana. It would be the city of my birth. Jim loved trains. That was the big thing then. The rails dominated the stock market and commerce. America's vast spaces seemed to guarantee a future. Jim's HO play trains, which would come later, are now in the personal collection of his own firstborn son, Jeffrey Kenton Wead. As soon as Dad was established in Muncie, Indiana, he brought in Willis Short to dazzle his congregation and give them a taste of what he could bring. If these films are any indication, Glad Tidings in Muncie was every bit as consuming as the church in Cuyahoga Falls. This was Roy Wead's life. For Rosa May, who as an only child had been abandoned by her father and whose mother had been on the road away from home for months at a time, it may have been a tad frustrating being married to a workaholic preacher. I have with me here my little brother Tim, and we're watching these films of Bill and Jim. What does it remind you of, Tim?
It reminds me of Indianapolis, and Dad would pull out the 8 millimeter projector.